Hey guys, how's it going? This is lecture number 7, and in this lecture we are going to be learning about file IO. Okay, so let's start from the basics, and in this lecture we are going to be learning about how to input a file, how to output a file, how to get the output of a file, how to read any file, how to write any file, how to append any file. We are going to be learning in this lecture. So let's start with the basics. What is this thing? So file IO. So in this case, IO, what does IO mean? That's input and output. So file input and output in Python. So how to open a file, how to read a file, how to update a file, how to delete a file, and how to close a file. That's what we are going to be learning about, right? So Python can be used to perform operation on a file, right? Any type of operation that could be read, write, append, delete, etc., right? So after that, we have two types of files, as you can see here, that are text file and binary file. So coming to the text file, so the text file actually ends with .txt or .docx or .log, etc. And the binary files, for example, the audio files, the video files, those are called binary files. Those files end with .mp4, .mov, .png, .jpeg, etc. Right? So these are some basic. And now coming to how to open a file, how to read a file, and how to close a file. Let's go with some basics, and we would be doing some question as well. So coming to how to open a file, we have to open a file before reading or writing, right? If you're reading a textbook, you don't directly start by reading or writing the text, right? First you have to open that, then you have to read it. If you think there's some mistake, you have to write that thing, and if you have done with the reading of that book, you have to close the book and do some other stuff, right? So firstly, how to open a file. So in this case, I have to write open here. So what is open? Open is a keyword over here, right? So you have to write open, and in bracket with double quotes, you have to write your file name. And the file name, how to write the file name, how to create that file, I would be telling you in the VS Studio, right? And you have to write the mode, right? So in file name, it could be like sample.txt or demo.docx, right? That's your wish. And in mode, what does mode means? So it tells you whether you have to open, means whether you have to read or write. There are more modes we will be learning, but mainly we will be focusing on these two, that is read and write mode, right? Because they are mostly used in Python. So open is a keyword I said, and now if I want to read that file, how can I do that? So I can do is f.read and then assign this thing value of the data into a data variable over here, and I would be closing it. And why I'm using close over here is that it's for our safety. In future, if somebody is operating in my system, in the desktop, he would be not able to see my data, he would be not be able to change anything. That's why, for safety reason, if you are a good coder, if you are a good software engineer, you would be using f.close over here, right? Now let's see one example and let's do that. So firstly what I would do is I would create a, let's first delete this, right? So yeah, in the folder of, there is a file. So I've created a folder over here, that is my pyth, and in that folder I have a file, that is 1.py, right? So let us create one more file over there, that let's name this as demo.txt. So this is my file over here, and now let's write something in this file Let's suppose, hello Ayush, how are you doing? Right. Let's suppose this is some text in my file, and if I want to read that, right? If I want to read this file, what I would do is I would, let's learn from the basic. Let's write open. That's a keyword, right? We will be opening what?
I
We will be
I
opening
can say
our file, that is demo.txt. And what is our next method? The next method is our mode. I want to read that file. So what I would do, I would write R over here, R in the double quotes, R. So what it would be doing, it would be reading that file, right? And let us assign this to F so that it would be looking more needful. And now assign this to data, that is F dot read bracket, and I would print the data. And at the last, what I would do is F dot close. Right. Now let us run this code and let us see, will it be able to print? Yeah, it is printing the value of demo.txt over there. Right. Whatever is in the file, it is able to print. Okay. So let's suppose I'm changing this to some more there, like in the next line, hello John Pork. Okay, I've changed it and let us run one more time. So yeah, it is printing in the next line, not in the same line, right? Okay, so this is something which we have learned. Now, if I want some minimum part of my code, part of my text, let's suppose I want 5 digits from my demo.txt. Let's run this code. HELLO is being printed. That's 5, right? Let's suppose I want 6. Let's see, will it print the space 2? Here is the space 1. So let us see, will it print the space? Yeah, it is printing the space. Let's go with 7. Yeah, it is printing the space too, right? This is how you can print some limited portion in your text file or any other file that you wish, right? Now these are some more characters that we will be learning. Before that, yeah, let's learn this. So what does R means? R, we have seen that code. What does R mean? It means it is reading. Okay, okay, open for reading. That's a default one. Now what does W means? It open for writing and truncating the file first. And what does truncating means? To add, right? Now what does X means? It create a new file and open it for writing, right? So in this case, in we have seen here that without using my X command, I have created first a demo.txt and then I have written that. But with the X, it directly creates and file, and then you can open it for writing that file, right? Now what does A means? So A is open for writing, appending to the end of the file if it exists. Okay, so A is it opens for you to write, right? Then it append. What does appending means? To add something at the last, right? We have seen those questions and list. We have seen and tuples also to append any digit into the last list or last tuple. So same as here, appending means to add something at the last, right? Now, what does B mode means? It means binary mode. It will be opening you the file in binary mode. And what does T means? The text mode. That's for default one. Okay. So T and R are also same, right? You can use one more thing. You can use many mode in one single quotes, right? In this case, I'm reading the code and I'm also the texting the code, right? Texting the file. So you can use as many as you want there. And what does plus means? It open for disk file for updating. That is exact meaning is reading and writing, right? The easy part. Now, reading a file, we have seen how to read a file, right? It reads the entire file as I've seen there, right? It's a whole file over there and it has read it every part of it with even with the spacing and all, right? Now, what does read line do? What does read line keyword do? It read one line at a time. So in our file, there's two lines, right? Hello Ayush, how are you doing? And hello John Pog. Now, if I want to read just the one line over here, if I just want to read one line, so for that, what would I do? Is I would write read line and let's remove this and print the data. Let's give this name as line 1 and let's print this. So yeah, it is going to give you just, it will be printing you the first line of your file, right? That is this thing. It has been printed, right? And what does this space means here? What does the space means? So the space over here means that there's some more things in our file. Okay, what does hello means? It's hello. Yeah. So the space over here means we have more things in our file, right? And let's suppose we are printing the second line. So what I would do is print one more time with using our read line keyword and close it. Yeah. And just run this. See. So hello Ayush, how are you doing with a space? Then it has been printed hello John Pog, right? This is how read line works. It's nothing it's do, it will just print by one, right? Okay. So I hope if this both things are clear. It reads the entire file. Read line means line. It will read line one by one. Right now writing to a file. Okay, now this thing is interesting, right? We have seen how to read a file. Now how to write to a file. Okay, so let's suppose there is nothing here in my file. Let's clear this up so that everything is being cleared. Okay, there's nothing in my file, and if I want to write something into my this file, what would I do? I would just write this like this. No, I would not do this, right? So what I would do is I would use write mode over here. So how to write this?
Hey bro, how are
Let's
you?
give to like open.
Hey,
I will be opening my demo.txt file. Now the mode which I would be using is W. That is mean by write and f dot write. And let's suppose I want to write hello, my name is Josh, right? So I've written something in the double quotes, and at the last, as a good programmer, I would be closing it. Let's run this. So nothing has been printed. So you would be thinking, what is going on? Yeah. So this would be printing here, right here, right? So the text over there here has been printed over here, right? So that does W means. That means to write something. Now overwrites the entire file. It has been done. Okay. Now what does A means? A means to append. Append means to add something. Let's add some more things over here using append. How to write that? F equal to open your file. A means the mode. F dot write and the new line. Let's go for it. That is F equal to. Let's close this one first. Open. I will be opening my demo.txt. I will be using the mode that is A means to append, and now A dot sorry F dot write. Let's add the new data. Let's give it as new data, and I would be closing it. Now just run this. So the new data has been printed with the same existing file, with the same existing data which was there, that is hello, my name is Josh, and with the same thing the new data has been appended. And why there is no space over there here is because I have to add one space here, that is \n. Let's print this. Oh wait, okay. This you can do is you can use a space over here. Okay, unexpected index. Okay, let's clear this up. Now let's do from the starting. We have to append it. Wait. Yeah, this is my new code. Yeah, you can use here is \n. Let's run this. Let's see. Okay, it's many time it has been printed because there was some delaying error. So let's delete this file. Let's okay. Let's run one more time. Demo.txt is being created. The new data with some space has been done. Right. So this thing has been done. How to append something. Now let's do with a proper syntax over here. Okay, starting. Okay, we would be starting this. Before that, let us learn some more things that is regarding this thing. Let's add two modes, that is R and plus. What does R plus means? It means to read and overwrite. Right. R plus means it's to read and overwrite, and it has no truncate. And what does W plus means? It means read and overwrite. Sorry, write and overwrite. And there is truncate. As you can see, it can truncate. And what does A plus means? A and plus. It means read and append. And there is no truncate. The file will be deleted and it would be deleted overall. right? And let's write these code into syntax with a proper syntax, and we would be doing how to delete a file and the two questions, three questions. Then our video is over. Okay. Now, how to write a file we have done, and how to write a file with syntax. Okay, we can write these code in our syntax. How can I do that? So I can use with, which is a keyword, open. I would be opening my demo.txt. Let's suppose I want to read something. Let's write something over here. That is hello. Yes. No. Now, I have to read this as f. Why I'm writing as f over here? Because I want to store this into f, and after that I would be making this into all thing into data, so that and finally I can print the data. Let's run this code. Yeah. Hello Ayush Mohan. This is how you can read a file in the with syntax, right? And now how to write something, with same with open. I would be writing my txt with w as f dot write. Let's add new data. Let's run this code. So the new data has been printed in my file, right? This is how you can write something with proper syntax in file input down output. This thing has been clear, I guess. Now, how to delete a file. So make sure you listen this properly, because there's some more things I want to tell. Okay. How to delete a file by using OS module. So what does OS module means? It is an inbuilt function in the Python. It's an inbuilt function. Okay. We are not going to install. It's an already inbuilt. For example, TensorFlow. If I would write TensorFlow, like import TensorFlow, it will throw me an error. Why it will be throwing me an error? Because it's not pre-installed. You have to install by using Chrome. That's why. So while deleting, you have to import OS, so that you can delete a file using the OS module, right? So the module, like a copy library, is file written by another programmer that generally has a function we can use, right? So how to do that? First you have to write import OS, and then os dot remove the file name, right? Let's do this. Let's remove one file, that is, let's remove this file, that is remo.txt. Now import os. Okay, I'm writing this in my file, that's why. Let's write this in my here. Import os dot remove and my file name, that is remo.txt. Let's see, will it get removed or not. The file get removed, it should get removed. Yeah, So the file has been removed over my folder. So that's why if you can see here, a red line has been came in between my vmo.txt. That means it has been deleted. And you can still access it, but eventually it's deleted, right? You can't add or read something from here because it's not there. That's why. So this is how you can delete a file. Easy, right? Now let's do these three questions and then the file input and output is being done. So thing over here is create a new file that is practice.txt. Let's use our demo.txt. Okay, using Python, add the following list in it. That is, hi everyone. Okay, you have to add this. That means you have to write that. Hi everyone, we are learning file input. I'm using Java. I like programming in Java. Okay, let's write this first. Okay, we would be using our demo.txt rather than creating a new file. Now, what we can write here is with syntax, that is with open. We will be opening our demo.txt. Let's see something is there or not. New data is there. Let's remove that. We have to write that. That's why as f comma, have to write that. Now f dot write, I would be writing my first line, that is hi everyone. Same as over here, f dot write. We are learning file input and output. Same over here. Okay, using Java. Let's write this whole thing rather than making one by one. Uh, let's write like this. Now f dot write. Let's take this and let's print this up. Right. Now let's okay, this thing has been printed as f. We are writing this. Let's print this up and let's see. Yeah. Hi everyone. We are learning file input and output and everything has been printed. Right. So this question has been done. Now, the next question. You have to replace all occurrence of Java with Python in above file. How to do that? Easy. So here we can see that here Java is there, two Javas are there, and I want to replace those into Python. So how could I do this? Could I do this? By using with open our file name, that is demo.txt comma r. because I want to rewrite it. That's why as f now data dot data equal to wait data equal to f dot read. Now let's assign this into new data. New Let's assign this into new data, and now data dot replace. Yeah, data dot replace. What I want to replace, that is I want to replace Java to Python in double quotes. I want to replace this, and at final I would be printing this new data. Let's run this code. So, hi everyone, we are learning file input and output using Python and in and I like programming in Python. And if you open this into our file, still it is Java. Why this is Java? Because we haven't opened our file and replaces it. So how could I do this? With the same with syntax, with open. Firstly, we have to open our demo.txt, and I want to um, write it. Right, I want to write as f dot
Hmm?
read f dot write. I have to write new data. So new data. Yeah, there's no error, and let's just run this, and let's see our open our file, and yeah, the Java has been converted into Python, right? So this is how you can do it. Now also, if you want to search a like learning in the
Hey,
file
dude.
input and output, you can use if thing,
Nice
right? If
picture.
the learning exists, then you
It's
have to
got a
print that
dog
it exists.
smoking
If not, it dot exist. Okay, using if or else
a
one, right?
cigar, I
So
think,
these
right?
questions has been done.
Okay, you're
Let's
not also
see
here.
something if I have missed.
God, why is
That is
everyone in
okay. This thing has
calls
been done.
and
What is
not
file
talking?
input and output? How to open? How to read?
When you
How to
join a
close?
call, you're
And
supposed
we
to
have seen
talk,
some more
not just
modes.
mute
That is
yourself
very
and
important
sit
one. And
there.
also we have seen
You're
some
taking
more
up a
additional
spot.
modes. That is what does R plus means? What does
Others might
W
need
plus
it to
mean? What does
talk,
A
and
plus
you're
means?
taking
We
it.
have done this, and how to read a file using read, and how to read one line at a time, that is using that is using read line by, right? And how to write a file, we have seen by using write, and we have to write something in the double quotes. And how to add something to the file using append, like what does append means? It adds something at the last, right? This thing has been done, and so these codes we are writing by normal syntax, but with syntax we are using by just with keyword over here, and you have to give all these with assigned to as f, and at the last you have to print the data. And how to delete a file by using os module, like you have to import that os and os dot removed and your file name. and with the three questions we have done, also we have done how to create a file, something like that, right? I hope everything has been cleared. You have enjoyed the video lecture, this file input and output. And in the next lecture, we are going to be learning about OOPS, object oriented programming. That would be very interesting. That is more hectic one, very interesting one. We would be love that. Little hard, but that's fine. Right. So okay, so the video number 7, I guess lecture number 7 has been, I think, pretty interesting, and I think everybody has understood. So thank you everybody for watching video lecture 7. I will be seeing you in lecture number 8. Also, the OOPS would be uploaded in two parts, lecture number 8 and 9, because that are some lengthy videos. That's why. I hope everyone has been enjoyed the video. Thank you and have a nice day ahead.